Okay, here we go. Since the video of slaying Inferno Diablo, me and Grant have been getting a shitload of questions about farming and stuff like that, so we're gonna make some farm videos. This is the first one we're gonna do Act 1. So what we usually do is jail runs, and to do a jail run, you're gonna want to set your quest here to the cursed hold. So it's Act 1, make sure it's on Inferno, obviously. Put it on the cursed hold, which is this one. It's under Chapter 9. Select the quest, and go to the game. Alright, I'm just gonna get Grant in here. Alright. So obviously during this video, me and Grant are like super overgeared for this. So I'm going to be using my MF set, which consists of boots, gloves, bracers, shoulders, and an amulet to dumb my DPS down a little bit. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the same effect to people that are fresh out of hell and don't really have the gear, but yeah, so let's do this. You're going to want to take the waypoint to Halls of Agony level 2, obviously. And from here, me and Mr. Grant, say hi to the people, Mr. Grant.
Hey, people. I was waiting.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to keep
No,
talking.
it's all good.
So, basically our goal here is to get to the jailer. We want to have as many stacks of envy as possible when we get there. So we kind of just run around. I'm lagging. That's good.
Same
Just
here.
blow through this. You're lagging too.
A little bit.
I'm
It
getting
was
like
just
a weird
like
video
the
lag.
FPS. Yeah, the FPS dropped a little bit when we went into there for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said before, we're probably gonna blow through this. I mean, this isn't like a video to be like, this is how you do it. It's kind of more of a video to be like, oh, this is the route you should go for this. Wow, man, this lag is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
Yeah, if this were any other actor, you'd probably be dead right now.
Yep. Not even gonna lie about that.
Okay. Just a note for monks watching the video or people with monk friends that are having questions. The build I'm using in this video is like a DPS focus build, not the one that was posted for Diablo. So if you've watched the Diablo video, the only things that change in this is I replaced Blind with a Sweeping Wind with the Blade Storm glyph, and I replaced the Earth ally with the Fire ally because the Fire ally does more damage, and we don't really need anything to tank mobs for us in Act 1. We can do the same thing in Act 2 now, and anytime you kind of outgear whatever you're farming, you can run to these two runes, and even with a tanky build like I have, you still do a pretty good amount of damage with those two things changed. You just don't have the same amount of CC as you would have with the Blind and the Earth ally.
Yeah.
So there's the third one.
One tip for farming that I will mention though is I talk to a lot of people that, you know, they can't quite do Act 2, but they say they don't want to farm Act 1 because they feel like they're not going to get upgrades or something like that. I mean, do people say that to you too, Grant?
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I think what people aren't understanding is that you're not like running this to get an upgrade. Like when you, especially when you're farming stuff, I don't really farm things to get an upgrade. If I went through my total items that I actually even used for the Diablo fight, I'd say maybe one or two of them I found. Everything else was bought in the auction house. So when you do these runs, you really want to make sure that you're looking at all the items that you're getting, and you want to list them appropriately on the auction house. Meaning you don't want to overprice shit, you don't want to underprice things. You know, you have to make sure you know what you're selling. And I think that's a big reason why certain people are having such a hard time with the game, because they're either not using the auction house or they're not listing things right, and things like that. Alright, so
And further note on that same thing. When you look at the auction house, I'm not sure actually for a fresh 60 if it does the same thing it does for us. But when you look on the auction house, it shows you the best of the best item wise. It shows you the ones that are, you know, the 5-6 mil items that you're probably looking at and going, well, I can't buy upgrades because every upgrade for me is like so expensive. The fact is, to run Act 2, Act 1, to run Act 1, you need very little as far as like upgrades from level 60 items, and to run Act 2 even, you probably don't need the best of the best. So it's more than likely a better strategy to just go down the list until you find something for cheaper, you know, in the 100,000, 200,000 range that's a definite upgrade, and buy that so that you can farm better stuff and
Yep.
then kind of take it one step at a time rather than just trying to go straight into the items that'll let you do like Diablo and Act 4 because you don't necessarily need that right off the bat. And
Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that too. They're like, oh well, I can't get upgrades, but they're not looking like through the auction house for good buys. They're just looking at like, oh well, I need the 12k bow that's gonna make me God mode. You don't have to be God mode to farm Act 2, Act 1. You don't even have to be God mode for Act 3 really.
yeah,
And that's another thing. We are gonna make videos for each act for the routes that we use to farm to get to Inferno Diablo. So be on the lookout for that. This is gonna be the first one, obviously.
what you might do actually, since we've been talking about it,
Oh wow.
is since we've been talking. Oh yeah, they explode. That's why you died. It's
Yep,
like,
I wasn't paying attention.
um, but what you might do is make an auction house one to like show how to look for.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
know a lot of people don't necessarily use that right either. It takes like the auction house, especially if you're used to the WoW auction house where you just type in the name of whatever you want and everything has its own special name. You look at that new auction house and you're like, what the f- is this shit?
yep,
I mean, it takes a little while, but I mean, like everyone knows in Diablo, the only items with specific names are the legendaries, and I mean, you can look for specific legendaries, but more often than not, you're going to want some rare or some blue item that has really good, rolls for your class, and you're not going to want a legendary necessarily right off the bat. And to
yeah,
find those, there's definitely easier ways to do it than just looking through the entire list of items and saying, nope, 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 want that, okay, nope, 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 nope. Because it'll give you every single thing that your class can wear, and I mean, obviously, you don't necessarily want a bunch of int gear on your monk or a bunch of int gear on your demon hunter.
Ah, come on, man. It gives resist.
Yeah, man.
I need that stuff. I need resist.
Is this door?
I think we've went every wrong way possible.
No, well, we have 3 stacks at least.
We do have 3 stacks. Oh, that's another thing I want to mention too. I mean, as I'm running through this video, you guys can see I already found 4 rares. And that might have something to do with I am actually currently at, how much magic find? 140 with 3 stacks. That's another thing we should probably go into, how magic find works in groups, if you want to tell them, because I think you know a little bit better than I do.
Okay. Well, from what we've gathered and what we've read, the way it seems, first off, is that the stacks of Nephilim Valor increase your chance to find rare items. This is all kind of speculation to some extent, but it's pretty proven since we've kind of experimented with a lot of different stuff. The way it seems to work is the stacks of Nephilim Valor increase your chance to get rares, increase your chance to get blues, increase your chance to get magic items in general. So with a 5 stack, you have a pretty good chance of getting magic items. What the actual magic find on gear seems to do is actually increase the quality. So, for instance, I don't know how many people watching have seen Act 1 and Act 2, but you'll notice that in Act 1, there's a spear. It's a level 60 spear. It has X amount of DPS. You'll pick it up and you'll see the base stats. If you can get a spear in Act 2 that's actually an Act 2 spear, it'll be level 62 or also, but it will have higher stats. And we think the increased magic find actually buffs your chance to get those like the second tier of items instead of just the first one.
Right.
Magic Find seems to also be split amongst the party. So since Raiden is wearing, all his Magic Find, and I'm not really wearing, I only have 73. He's actually bringing my Magic Find up, and I'm bringing his down a little bit. The word is that it balances out among the party. So
Yeah. So you don't want to if you have a bunch of magic find and your friend that has 0 wants to go farming with you, it might not be the best idea until he gets some. If you're going, strictly for the big loot or the nice loot. Oh wow. Stupid mortar.
As you could see, in later acts, you will not see me standing in giant plagues of molten and arcane, and you won't see him taking mortars to the face and not dying in one hit.
Yeah, no, you definitely will not see that later.
None of this will happen, and it probably, if you're new to Inferno, you will not be doing this either. You will be doing a much more cautious pull for each pack of elites you find. But the main goal of this video is to show the route and to get people kind of started on how to upgrade their character and how to get into the later acts of Inferno for those.
Maybe we should fight them like how we used to fight them, just to give people an idea of how we used to do it, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep. No, we can do that for a pack or two. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still it's going to be a little like people are.
Right, right, yeah, it's not gonna be like the full effect or anything like that, but I mean, it'll give them an idea of like how we used to do it before we got the gear that we have.
Yep, and I mean, if you guys look out for those videos on Act 2 and 3, you'll see more of it there. Not so much Act 2, but definitely Act 3. We're still in the point, we're not necessarily to the point where we can just run into piles of crap and not die. Act 3 is...
No, I get one shot pretty much by everything in Act 3.
Yep, and...
Without a doubt.
Don't take too many more hits myself.
Yep. It's a lot of kiting then, I'm sure many of you know. I mean, it was a lot of kiting here when we first got here.
Yep. But it definitely speeds up, and the more gear you have, the more you can kind of not take risks necessarily, but stay in the fight longer and just, ignore certain things, and you have to play less. You can play less safe, which lets you kill mobs way faster.
Yep.
Because if we were killing all this stuff like we had to use to kill it, this run would have taken 20-30 minutes. It's probably going to take even less than that now. But
yeah,
I have to explore like the entirety of that freaking second level.
Oh, we do have 4 stacks of NV.
Yep.
So that's nice. Probably have 5 before we even get the jailer.
We're gonna have super yellows, man.
Oh yeah.
Where the is the okay?
So yeah, you just do this quest, obviously. I mean, you're just running around getting the prisoners, hopefully finding elite groups and getting your stacks up. I mean, idealistically, 5 stacks on Jailer has given us pretty good loot before. I mean, even the shield Grant still uses, and even used on the Inferno Diablo kill, came from this run. So a lot of people think like, oh, Act 1, I'm not going to get anything good. He still uses the shield we found here. And he has yet to find a better upgrade that's not like 20 million gold on the auction house.
If you get perfect rolls on whatever you find, especially armor-wise...
Oh, wow. I was not paying attention. Again. I'm just going to run back.
That's fine. Yeah, so I mean, if the way Diablo works is, I mean, all the item stats are rolled. So I mean, you can get an Act 3 item or a later level 60 or a higher level 60 with just complete crap for you. I mean, you can get int and vitality shoulders.
Yep.
Or
you could get that out of Act 4 when even with the best MF and Act 4 and everything, you could still get really bad rolls.
Watch out.
Oh my god. This is how these runs go too. I like how I put out the last video. It makes me look super pro doing Inferno Diablo, but I still die to bombs just like everyone else. Not that pro.
Oh, oops.
Another thing I should show people is how to stagger shoot for kiting and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can show them whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, on the next elite pack, we'll actually do it like we used to do it.
We actually made a mistake there. We saw that you might have saw that MF shrine that we clicked. You shouldn't have clicked that.
Well, there's one right here too.
Yeah,
so yeah, if you find an MF shrine on your run, and like say for example, we have the jailer coming up real soon. You want to save this MF shrine, especially if you can kill the jailer within the 2 minutes, because you're gonna get better loot that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right,
the absolute perfect use for one of those would be to maybe if you find your last elite group, to pull your last elite mob, whatever it is, like the last one, over to this shrine, click it, kill the elite mob, run to jailer right away. You have it for 2 mobs, or you have it for 2 big drop chances.
Yeah, you always want to maximize the shrines.
Yeah, having all the MF when you're clicking all these all these weapon racks and stuff is nice, but it's not nearly as nice as actually having it when you're guaranteed to get some amount of magic items, because it'll increase the quality of those magic items right away. Yeah, that guy just got wrecked.
Yep.
But you can see we have 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor, and I don't know what you got, but I got 2 yellows.
I got 3 yellows, one being a ring. Ring yellows are always good.
Yep, even in Act 1. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you can sell or possibly use if you get lucky enough to actually get stuff that's good for you.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you see that we got our 5 stacks. We got he has a decent amount of MF. We got a ton of items. Even if necessarily it's not all great, there's more of a chance for something good to drop because we got so many items dropping. I mean,
yep. Every item you get is another roll that could be something really good that you can get a
Yep.
even something maybe mill for, maybe not a mill, 500,000 in this act for something
Well,
really
that
good
ring, dude.
maybe.
I mean, if that ring you have is good, I mean, rings can sell for few mil regardless of the act. I used in that Diablo kill. I had a level 54 ring up until yesterday, pretty much.
Oh
And
yeah, I still use I think this ring, yeah, level 56.
yep. So I mean, you don't have as much of a chance to find great items and like end game items in Act One, but it's not like you're finding crap. If you're finding crap, it's because that's how Diablo works. I mean, 90% of the items you get in this game are going to be crap, technically.
Yep.
And you just have to sift through it and find the ones that are sellable and the ones that are usable and sell them and buy the stuff that you actually want on the auction house because that's why it exists.
Yep.
Um, we are not doing these like we used to do these. I just
I
realized.
know, I just realized that too. I started like running and stuff.
Watch out, explosion.
Yep, yep. Grant knows me all too well. I see items and I just run at them. I'm like, oh. I always forget if they explode.
Oh, trust me, I'd have died like 1,000 more times in this game if I didn't live through those. The only reason you don't see me on the ground dead is because I lived through the explosion when that happens. If I died, I'd be right there with him. But
The benefits of being a tank.
pretty much,
Who says monk is underpowered?
you can go loot items that
You
silly,
can get your item 5 seconds before I can. If that's not a reason of
stupid,
being
stupid
jealous, I
demon
don't know
hunters,
what
bro.
is.
Buff
Oh,
demon hunters.
yeah, they need it.
Oh, okay. Here. Well, actually, I don't know.
Hold on a sec, I already started shooting stuff.
Okay. Well, you can kill stuff. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm identifying, but I was planning on. Here you can look at these and kind of show them on stream. But basically,
Okay.
I just got those off of Pack, and like, while those aren't necessarily like there's no wizard that's going to use that necessarily on Inferno Diablo. It does have int and it has all resist. If it had vitality, it would actually be a really good pair of boots. But I mean, even something like that with just that much int and all resist and kind of like a decent amount of other stats that aren't necessarily wasted, you can get a couple. I mean, even if you get 50 to 100,000 off of that, that's a decent item for Act One
Yep.
farming that you can buy in return. Um, you can get. I've heard. I haven't actually looked myself. But I've heard that, I mean, you can get like 600, 700 DPS one-handers for, a couple 100,000 now, and those are pretty good items for this level. So, I mean, you sell an item for 100, 200,000, you might be able to buy a weapon that's, way better than whatever you came out of hell with for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I was using weapon-wise when we were doing this. I
I don't
think
know
my
what
weapon was it the 750 I had for a while?
mine was a 400 DPS one-hander. That's
Mm.
what I was using. And I mean, I've personally seen higher DPS weapons for couple 100,000 on the auction house, and you could easily buy one of those by farming this act and be ahead of where we were when we cleared this. So I mean, it's definitely worth farming. And then once you get a couple of those items, you can try Act Two. You can try the next video we're gonna make and see if you can actually do that as well. And I mean, it's just a step by step process. I mean, you try it out, you see if you can kill mobs, and it's you're not. I guess what's
It is a process because you also have to take in consideration. Okay, you get to Act Two, maybe you can do Act Two, maybe you can clear a little bit of Act Two, but for farming purposes, I mean, when like what me and Grant used to do was this: when we made a game, we either said we were going to go farm or we were going to go progress. It was one or the other. We weren't going to go try to progress and farm at the same time. Um, so I mean, that's what you guys should probably try to do too. If we went on a farming run, what was I gonna say? Sorry, I got distracted. Uh,
upper level content and
right, right. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. When you're on a farming run, you want to basically you want to be able to get 5 stacks. If you're in Act 2 and you can't get to 5 stacks, then you don't want to farm Act 2 because the whole thing is getting the 5 stacks to be able, to kill a boss and get the guaranteed yellows. It's not worth farming Act 2 if you can't really do it. You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people struggling for that reason too.
so pro butcher strats here. If you're in a combo like we are with a melee and a ranged, and especially if you have a tanky melee, The easiest way to do this is basically to have the melee or the range basically just line up in a line, because every time he throws the hook out like that and tries to pull them in, he's going to pull the melee. Um, if you are under geared for this boss and you're like, the melee can't handle getting hit by that, then obviously don't do this. But even when we were farming this and like trying to progress through it, me and our barbarian friend could easily take these hits and not die, whereas the demon hunter gets grabbed once and melts.
Yep.
Um, it also allows the demon hunter to basically just free DPS, which means this guy dies really fast instead of really.
Yeah. So what he's saying is basically, oh, and see, there's the poke. I wasn't paying attention. I was gonna show them what I meant. But basically, you just want to line yourself up behind your tank. So if Grant's standing right here and the guy is right in front of him right here, I just want to stand right here and auto attack. So I don't even have to move for the grip. Is basically everything. And look, 3 yellows off that guy because of full stacks and a little bit of MF.
Yep. And if you don't have the 5 stacks, you're going to get 3 yellows or 3 blues, and you're going to be really sad, and you're going to be really disappointed, and you're going to think farming in Diablo is impossible, which I've heard so many people in the forums and everything else bitch about. But I mean, you need to understand that the way Blizzard wants people to do this is basically kill those elite packs, kill those things that are actually harder than, we all know that, harder than the bosses in most cases, and then use those stacks to go kill the boss, because that shows that you basically have the mastery over the whatever you're farming. That means that you should be getting good items, because if you're just struggling through stuff, then they're not going to give you the good stuff. But if you can basically just walk in, kill all the elite packs, go kill the boss, and you have the 5 stacks, then you're going to get decent stuff, or at least have the chance to get decent stuff every time.
And just for example, I'm going to count up the rares that I got that whole run. So I had an empty bag during this run. I still have all these blues on the floor from the boss that obviously you could sell for a little bit, disenchant, whatever. But let's get down to it. So here's the rares. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 rares from that one run.
Fuck.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And that's pretty much everything. Look out for the Act 2 video. We'll probably have it up by tomorrow or the next day. Thanks, guys.